Dark Souls, a game that, after all these years, still has secrets to discover. This sentiment is doubly true for the speedrunners. The original version came out in 2011, but was ported as Prepare to Die Edition to PC in 2012. All speedruns have been done on that version primarily. That is, until 2018, when Dark Souls Remastered hit the shelves, replacing Prepare to Die Edition on Steam completely. Prepare to Die Edition has 4 major speedrunning categories, and those are the same for the remaster, so it might seem as that things are the same, but nothing could be further from the truth. Even though the games differ very little, casually, the speedrun has changed in a major fashion. The changes we will cover, and the fact that the in-game timer used to time the speedruns runs slower in Remastered compared to Prepare to Die Edition, mean that these two games have completely separate leaderboards. Although many important glitches have been fixed, as is often the case with remasters, new ways to exploit the game's mechanics were introduced. Let's take a look. The biggest difference, which affects remastered speedruns, is the lack of the bread and butter glitch of PTD speedrunning, the Moveswap. Moveswap allows the player to transfer part of one weapon's moveset to a different weapon completely, allowing them to bypass the drawback of big heavy-hitting weapons. They're often slow attacks. Without going into extreme detail, normally the only weapon a player can two-hand in their left hand is the bow. Moveswap works because the game allows you to open the menu while an action is queued up in the memory. Abusing this fact allows the speedrunners to queue up two-handing the bow, and before the game executes the action, swap out the bow for the weapon of choice. Because the bow lacks any running, rolling, or plunging attacks, the game uses information for said attacks from the right hand, which will often wield a small, yet fast weapon. This defining glitch of PTD speedruns is, however, completely absent from the remastered version, because the developers simply forced the game to clear the action queue upon entering the menu. This in practice means that remastered runners do not have the comfort of transforming any weapon to a potentially viable one, and need to pay attention to the weapon's moveset as well. This sets one weapon apart in particular, the Black Knight Halberd. Its solid damage, early accessibility, easy upgrade path, and a fantastic moveset make it present in almost every Dark Souls Remastered speedrunning category. The same fix, making Moveswap unavailable in DSR, also prevents speedrunners from abusing several other glitches, most notably the quantity storage. Fully covering this technique is beyond the scope of this video, but keep an eye out on the channel as I plan on elaborating on QS and also other glitches in greater detail in a future video. For now, all we need to know is that quantity storage allows the speedrunners to either purchase a large quantity of items at once, feed Frammed a large quantity of items at once, resulting in millions of souls gained in seconds, or dupe items which can be fed to Frammed by storing them in the bottomless box first, and then quantity selling them to him. QS is, however, a somewhat recent discovery from late 2017, since many years prior, a different way of duplicating souls had been known: confirmation box duping. Runs from as early as 2013 have been abusing the ability to queue up using an item with a confirmation box, like a soul or a homeward bone, and then using a consumable from the inventory, usually the Estus flask. This makes the confirmation prompt appear, however, confirming it consumes the selected consumable from inventory, while giving it the properties of the item being duped, keeping its original quantity. While there are other methods to confirmation box dupe, none of them are really viable for speedruns, as they take too long to perform or are too difficult to reliably save time. This would mean that remastered speedrunners have to actively think about saving their homeward bones and managing their souls. If it was not for this. The discovery of quantity usage changed everything. Until that point, remastered runners had no easy and reliable way to obtain larger amount of souls through the run. DSR, besides some bug fixes, also introduced a couple of new quality of life features. Among those is using multiple consumables at once, most often humanities, or more importantly, souls. By utilizing a glitch called FromSoftware, it is possible to open 2 menus at the same time. Using an item with a quantity prompt during this glitch state allows a previously stored quantity value to be utilized while choosing how many items to use. Using the glitch several times during the run makes the runners level up early and not pay attention to their soul count anymore, making them able to just use the dark side instead of obtaining extra homeward bones. PTD routes need Frammed to obtain large amounts of souls if desired. Remaster allows you to do it out of your pocket, leading some people to call this glitch the Pocket Frammed. Pocket Frammed is a defining feature of every Dark Souls Remastered speedrun. Equip slot manipulation allows the player to equip a certain type of an item, let's say a consumable, into an equip slot of a different type, let's say a ring. When an item is equipped, the game only checks the ID number of the equipped item, not its type, letting the players gain effects of items they do not physically possess. It is most often abused to obtain the effects of the red Tearstone ring, getting a massive damage boost without wasting time going to the Valley of Drakes to pick it up. This, however, is only possible when the player reaches maximum inventory capacity, which is absurdly high at 10,000 way units. Players thus use the quantity storage glitch to purchase a large number of heavy items at once to reach the limit. While there are ways to relatively quickly reach the inventory limit even in the remaster, ESM still does not work. This means that if you see a red Tearstone ring being used in DSR, the runners had to physically pick it up, unlike the often artificial, so to speak, RTSR created from a red sign soapstone in PTD. Air rolls are a glitch present in both versions of the game. Once within a specific weight load interval, the game lets the player continuously chain rolls midair and use the roll's iframes to avoid damage upon landing. That being said, the required interval of weight load is significantly bigger in DSR. In fact, it is roughly 45,000 times bigger. You see, for the air roll glitch to work in DSR, all which needs to be accomplished is being between 25 to 29% weight load. In PTD, things are much more complicated. The weight load interval at which air rolls work is between 25 and 25.000088%. As the lowest increment at which weight can be changed is 0.1, it should be theoretically impossible to stay within this interval. However, there's a way, and speedrunners always discover the way. In Dark Souls, just like with most other games, the calculations are performed with floating point numbers. The specific downsides to using floating points are not what I will discuss in this video. The key information we need to know is that certain ordinary values cannot be stored with exact precision. This means that an item with a weight of seemingly 1.2 units is actually weighing very slightly more than 1.2. Precisely planning which equipment to put on depending on their endurance, the runners are able to stay within the desired interval and perform air rolls. In practice, this means that in a speedrun, using the Pyromancer's starting class set in combination with other already acquired items is usually the most convenient and fastest way to reach the Prepare to Die edition air roll interval. For that reason, many speedruns in PTD start as a Pyromancer, even though they never use a single Pyromancy. In the remaster, runners have no need to start as a Pyromancer and use a more convenient class, like the Thief instead. Since we've covered a lot today, let me quickly summarize the main differences we talked about. First, I need to reiterate that the in-game timers used to time the speedruns differ between the versions, and thus direct comparison is not possible. Then, while you can make almost any weapon viable in Prepare to Die edition thanks to the Moveswap, Dark Souls Remaster lacks this option, and the main weapon for its speedruns is the Black Knight Halberd. When it comes to duping items, the older version enjoys confirmation box dupes and quantity storage. However, the remaster's exclusive quantity usage brings a lot more to the speedrunning table, allowing the runners to level extremely early and use the Black Knight Halberd as soon as obtained. The overpowered red Tearstone ring must be obtained physically in the remaster, while the PTD runners, at least in the old bosses category, obtain the ring via the equip slot manipulation glitch. Finally, air rolls are used in both versions of the game. but the setup for them differs greatly and is much more complicated in the 2012 version of the game. For that reason, it is common to see the PTD runners starting as a pyromancer, while remastered runners start as faster classes. I hope you've enjoyed this one. These are all the major differences in speedrunning the two existing Dark Souls versions. Consider subscribing if you would like to see more content like this, and thank you for watching.